Hey everybody, welcome to Build Week 4. I am so excited that we are finishing this series. Thank y'all for hanging out with me the past 4 weeks. It has honestly been a long time since I've done a series like this, and I know how hard, just being honest with y'all, or if you're catching the replay a year later or whenever it is, it can be hard to commit, but I firmly believe that programs like this, especially if you commit to it, can set up some really good habits for you. And so I hope those of you that are caught up and that you've watched weeks 1 and 3, if you haven't, you can watch them back. But just know that everything that's been shared every single week is a process. So give yourself grace, but also know that getting started is the most important thing. Okay. And we talked about that in week 2. So this week for week 4, we're going to be talking about how to make it last in your business, okay? And y'all can see the chat. So as you guys have questions, let me know. I know you're not going to have any for me. You'll probably have them for Anna and Melissa, a dynamic duo. They have so much experience, but we will get to them in about 10 minutes because I know y'all don't want to hear me a lot, or at all. But we're talking about how to make it last. So what I'm going to share with you guys over the next 10 minutes before I introduce our panelist is what I do and what a lot of successful leaders do in Scentsy in general with this business to make their business last, to know what to do when they get burnout, right? Because with burnout, I'll just go ahead and say that's in any aspect of life. And I was actually talking to my nail girl about this tonight, like, how do you avoid burnout, right? As a nail artist, and like having to listen to people all day and like having to never be able to turn your brain off. And when you're a mom, you can get burnout, right? You can get burnout with cooking. You can get burnout with a lot of things. So what I'm hoping tonight will give you is some unity in knowing that you're not alone in having those kind of ups and downs. I go through it often. And there are some ways and some concepts that can help you, though, do it better than I've done it, or Anna's done it, or Melissa's done it. And that is our hope tonight. And so I'm going to share with you guys a little quick chart. Most of you guys know what this chart is. But let's see, there we go. But this chart is what you guys are going to use in your business in order to stay consistent. Why are you so? Hang on, y'all. Y'all know I be all over the place. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay. So these notes, by the way, I'm going to put these in the description on the YouTube channel. I know you guys love a note. I love a note too. I get it. Heard. And that way, if you guys do a training with your leaders, which is my hope, that if you're wanting to grow a big business, that you should have all the resources available. So that way you guys can use notes like this and build off of it. So you can be the leader that you're called to be, right? So this chart you guys are super familiar with, all right? Y'all know that me and Justin have been using this for what, about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. This is what I want you guys really looking at when you are thinking about, well, how do I stay consistent, right? Because the 2 biggest things that I have found in being able to stay with Scentsy is being consistent and being disciplined. So consistently doing the behaviors that are going to work, right? We're going to talk about that in 1 minute. But consistently doing the behaviors that are going to work, and also being disciplined, which means you're not just doing these things when you feel like it. You're doing them because it's a habit. You're doing them because you have a dream. You're doing them because you see a bigger future in 6 months from now, a year from now, and Scentsy can help you get there. That's what discipline is. Discipline is when you are drained, tired, but you know these consistent actions, which we're going to talk about, that I'm going to show you on this very simple chart. These actions, though, are going to get me there. So let's not go off of feelings, right? Y'all know I talk a lot about, Jen Anderson is very great at this, and you need to watch her YouTube video she has about how she runs a business, because she always takes those emotions and feelings out of the consistent activity. It's all about doing those consistent activities, even when you don't feel like it, because you know what? When you do those consistent activities and you're disciplined, you're going to be damn proud of yourself. You're going to be really proud of yourself. I've never been like not disciplined, like in a place where I was disciplined, and not been proud of myself, right? You sometimes you don't like it. Sometimes it doesn't feel good in the moment, but you got to look at why you're doing it, right? And we talk about that in weeks 1 and 2. So Really quick, 3 legs of success. I'm going to fly through these, but I just want you guys to know that this principle is tried and true, okay? There's also something called the 4 chords in Scentsy that is very similar to this, but there's 3 things that you should be doing to make your business last. Now, the first thing, the sales, this is if you don't want to do leadership. So I also want y'all to know, if you don't want to sponsor, that's okay. And people need to hear that. There's no pressure for you to do that if you don't want to, because you can still show up and show out on meetings, SFR, world tour, all the things. And I want y'all to understand that, because y'all know I train a lot on leadership development, but this leg right here, you can boss out in sales and have $4,000 months and make your car payment and beyond, or whatever. Save for that dream vacation, whatever you want. So if you're not wanting to do leadership, here's some examples of what you can do in sales to increase productivity in sales, okay? These are just a couple examples, right? There's a lot of other things you can do now, like fragrance flower parties and cleaning buckets and all these different types of like fundraisers. There's a lot of different things you can add to this, but I want you to start here. Also, if you're a leader, I want you to start here. When you're a leader, I did 2 coaching calls today. And the first thing I talked about with them was, how is your business? So I want you guys to understand, and I guarantee you, Melissa and Anna will talk about this. Our business is prime. If our business is not good, we cannot be skipping down and coaching people and doing all these retreats and doing all these things. We have to make sure our business is locked and loaded. Customers are locked and loaded, sales, meeting new people, right? That's what leaders do. We meet new people and expand our network. If your sales are not increasing, that's the first thing you need to look at, is how can I increase sales and how can I expand my network to increase sales? These bottom 2, you guys, this is going to be where you're looking at, okay, I want to actually build a business. I want to build a business where I am now stepping into position, because you guys have the tools. So even if you're an essential consultant, if you want to build a business, you absolutely can. So I want y'all to know, like, this mentality of like, well, I don't know, I'm nervous. You're going to be, but you have the tools. And that's something that I have to tell myself often, and y'all need to hear this. Like, you may not feel like you're equipped, but look at your receipts. Look at your team members you have now. Look at the tools that you have and the resources. So these bottom 2, let's just do the middle one. This middle one, after your sales are great, now I want you to move to your sponsoring. So this is when you first start your week, okay? When you're doing Scentsy, if you want to grow a business, the first thing you should be doing at the start of your Scentsy week is having sponsoring conversations. Why? Because it's the hardest thing to do, and everybody likes to avoid it. Not everybody, but a lot of people, because it's nerve-wracking. You don't want to get ghosted. But I want you guys to kind of flip the script. And when you're following up with customers, if you want to build a team, because you can actually have a business without building a team. But if you want to build a team, I want you guys thinking, okay, if Mondays when I do customer follow-up, I want you guys starting with prospects. I want you prospecting, building relationships with your customers that expand past an LTO and that expand past a freaking whiff box. If you want to build a team, you need to be building that list of your people that you know Scentsy could bless because of A, B, C, and D. I want you following them on social. I want you knowing them, their families. I want you to spend time investing into getting to know your customers, not in a creepy way, but in a way of, when you have that follow-up customer day, follow-ups are not just for sales. Follow-ups for somebody that wants to be a leader needs to be following up on leads. So I want to encourage you, when you want to build a team, if you want to build a team, this is what I do. The first start of my week on Mondays, so whenever you're doing Scentsy, and if you're a leader or want to be a leader, you need to start looking at when you are doing different tasks, okay, in your business. But when it comes to the sponsoring aspect, I want you to knock it out first. First start of the week, you'll feel so good. It'll make you uncomfortable, but this is how you grow. This is how you grow a team. This is how you take the customer and you bring them in to your world and you show them that they can actually do this. So that's what sponsoring is all about. It's a lifestyle. It's repetitive. It's rinse and repeat. It's hearing a lot of no's. It's all those things that y'all have heard in the past. But one thing I notice on coaching calls when I do them is a lot of you guys will say you're doing customer follow-ups, but there's no intentionality on following up with your recruits, following up with prospects. That's what I want you guys thinking about when you're looking at, okay, this is my customer day. Well, if you want to be a leader, and if you are a leader, your customer day needs to be starting with prospects. When you have your prospecting conversations, when you're looking at new people to add to your list or add to whatever the heck you're doing to keep track of it, Then you move on to tell them about the whiff box. But the whiff box is irrelevant first if you know that they could get paid off of it. So I really want y'all thinking that and like drilling it in your head. Sponsoring's a lifestyle. Do it at the start of the week. Get the hardest stuff out of the way. You'll feel so much better and you'll create really, really good habits, and you're not going to put fluff in. That's what a lot of people do in Scentsy. They'll add fluff in when they really need to be having sponsoring conversations and meeting new people. Okay, this bottom part, I have trainings on coachings. Other leaders have trainings on coachings. Now it's time, if you really want to build something, build them. This is building them. Okay, and I'm going to have all these notes that I'll share because I'm not going to go over them. But when it comes to coaching, mentoring, connection calls, whatever you want to call it to make yourself not be freaked out, you're a coach and you're a leader. You're put in this position for a reason, and it starts with one. So I want you guys thinking, number one, how can I learn more about this? Oh, great. I actually have a training I did last week on it, and it's on my YouTube channel. Okay, I did it for SSDs, but it's not for SSDs. It's even for the lead consultant. You can start looking at elite activities that high-level leaders are doing, because if you want to be there, why would you not want to watch those trainings? So don't psych yourself out and think you can't watch the coach training, because it's going to teach you how to do all this stuff. Okay, and showing up for events, leading by example, starting recognition, and last but not least is self-care. Okay, y'all know I talk a lot about self-care. All right, I feel like I'm like the freaking poster child of self-care, but that's why it's right here. If you don't have yourself together and you're gonna start coaching and pouring into people, you will be so drained, so dehydrated, literally you will dry up and shrivel up. So I want you guys to do it better than me. I want you to do it better than, you know, everything that I've learned in the past 12 years and stuff y'all are going to hear from Anna and Melissa too. You matter the most. You matter the most. I care far more about you guys as human beings than about you selling $4,000. Okay. And you guys know that when I coach you guys, I tell you guys that. And it's because I want y'all to have healthy habits. Healthy habits breed healthy leaders. Healthy leaders have healthy teams. Unhealthy habits build unhealthy leaders who have unhealthy teams. So examples of self-care, just because some people need to see it. Business hours, that's number one. You need to start having them. I know like some people are like, well, I do this, I do that, I'm all over the place. Listen to me. Don't be like Chloe. The first 5 years I had no business hours. I'd walk in the door on the phone, coaching people instead of eating, instead of putting my son to bed. Like nobody is more important on your team than number one, yourself, your spouse. If you have children, if you have pets, none of that should be superior to your business should not be superior to that. So if you're in that right now and you're finding yourself probably unhappy, unwell, you say you don't like coaching or you don't like working with people, but the reality is your business hours and your boundaries are probably super unbalanced. And that's where you can get like a life coach, or you can do the self-help books. I recommend a therapist. I mean, that's just what works for me. But having somebody that, and there's a lot of therapists that are good at business too. A lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of therapists that they know how to deal with leaders. They know how to help you guys win. Okay. Exercise, feeding your brain. You don't need to see all that. There's examples here on that, but also with self-care, I want to say this. A daily routine is so important. So getting a daily routine, I'm not talking about Scentsy. I mean, for yourself. Getting into a habit to win, setting yourself up right for success. I guarantee you, every leader on here right now, successful leader in Scentsy right now, knows that they win because they have a process. They win because they know what they're going to do when they wake up the next day in their business, because the night before they're writing down what they didn't finish today so they can do it tomorrow. They're not waiting to wake up and scroll Facebook and look at a pretty flyer and do stuff that doesn't matter. Successful people are doing things consistently and repeatedly that matter and help them win. So before I call our panelists up, I want to say, make sure too that you broaden your horizons on trainings. I love the Scentsy trainings. They're great on the workstation, but I mean, look at different consultants on YouTube, see who you vibe with. You may not vibe with me. I'm a lot, and that's okay. You may like someone more chill. You may like someone to like rub you and tell you you're pretty instead of me being like, you need to work. So you need to look and find and go get training that's going to feed you and that's going to resonate with you. right? And I think people need to hear that because training is individualized. Like you should go after the kind of personality trait that number one is going to challenge you, but also that's going to make you go, okay, I can connect with them. That's very, very important. And I feel like you guys need to hear that. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my two girls. All right, here we go. Add spotlight. Whew, there we go. I got so nervous. I'm going to unmute you guys. Y'all make me so nervous. Okay. Y'all are unmuted?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Sorry. I tried to go really fast because I know,
You did good. I was like, yeah, she's going to talk the whole time. She has always has so much good stuff to share and to say. I'm like, but no, you proved me wrong.
No, this is not my night. They want to hear you guys and I want to hear you guys because this is the kind of thing. And that's why I wanted to do a Q&A. I didn't want y'all to have to go through all these different pinpoints. I wanted y'all to have a direction for like, hey, this is what I really feel like the field needs to hear. And y'all have so much experience. So I'm gonna I guess like Anna, you can go first, and then Melissa, whoever wants to go first. But I would love for both of y'all to just give them a little background about how long you guys have been in Scentsy. What your receipts are. Like, I want them to hear your group size. I want them to hear, just a little bit about, because I feel like before we sit here and tell them like, well, what do you wish you knew and all these things, I just want them to like get to know y'all a little bit. So I don't know, Anna, if you want to go first.
Sure. My name is Anna Hughes, and I am a superstar director on the coast of Washington State. I've been with Scentsy since 2013. I actually didn't do anything with the first 2 years of my business, which is a super good story, but we'll save for another time. But I was a registered nurse. I was working 60 hours a week in the operating room. A couple of years in, I figured out the recruiting piece, recruited 48 people in a year. Was top earner for Disney World in 2015. I've been top 150, top 100, top 50. I've been annual mentor, annual sales award earner. I've been a Shining Star finalist. It's been an incredible ride because this is not at all what I would have thought that I would do with my life. But my best friends are in Scentsy, and Scentsy is my end all be all as far as career goes. And I am a lifer, and Melissa will tell you the same thing about her. So that's the long of the short of it. The short of the long. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't want to follow that. That resume is like amazing. Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Gratz, Superstar Director in Michigan. I've been with Scentsy since 2008. I have worked Scentsy as a business since about late 2008. It took me about 6 months to capture a vision. And then once I captured that vision, I never looked back. Something I jotted down when Chloe was talking was something triggered me to remind myself that I had no idea what I was doing when I started. None. Zero.
Same.
I had never done direct sales before. I had never attended a home party. I had never hosted a home party. I had never, nothing. So this business and this business model, all of this was way outside of any wheelhouse I had ever played in. And I can't imagine my life without it. Like Anna said, I'm a lifer. My best friends are in Scentsy. I go through my day thinking about Scentsy probably 150 to 200 times in 24 hours. And I can't help it. I love it. I didn't list my resume. Like, I don't need to list a resume. Anna's resume is better. I am an annual sales earner 16 years in a row. So I think I'll have my 16th star at SFR. I have never earned annual mentor in 16 years. I was a Shining Star finalist in 2012. I was a Shining Star in 2019. And those are the pieces that came because I found something I loved, not because no, there's no better way to say that. Those things came because I found something I loved. And I've realized, I've always known about myself that I don't know a stranger. So we basically, every stranger is a friend of mine unless they show me differently. And I didn't realize how important that piece is until starting this business and recognizing how much of a relationship business this is. It doesn't just mean relationships with your customers. It also means relationships with other business owners, relationships with other consultants, relationships with your downline, your team members, people that you meet at SFR, people that you meet on the street. It doesn't matter. This is a relationship business. And if you do not pour into the people, and again, I'm not just talking downlines, you don't pour into the people, your business will not be where you want it to be. And by pouring into the people, that also includes yourself, and it also includes your family. Pouring into the people.
Oh, it's just so good. Like, we could be done right now with what both of y'all said, but I love it.
She just praises us so much. She praises us so much.
Uh-huh.
Y'all are so authentic, and it's so hard to like, it's not hard. There's actually a lot of authentic people in Scentsy because that's our core value. But it's like you two are just so special. And so I'm just so glad y'all are here, and I think y'all opened it up beautifully. So the first question, and I'm gonna let whoever, wants to answer it first, is this. What do you wish you knew that you know now to help you be a stronger business owner? Like, and a lot of people will say, right, like, well, everything happens for a reason. So I don't mean like that. I mean, like, literally, how can we help these people on here right now do it better than us? Because that's the mentality I always have. So what's something both of you wish that you knew that would help you have a stronger business?
I'll go first. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I got something. Yes. Yeah. So I will just quickly reiterate that whole, I didn't do anything for 2 years in my business to start out. I was a team of one. I was certified all the way through 2 years of my business. I was on the will cancel list at one point. And honestly, it comes down to what you put into it and what you believe about yourself and what you put out there for other people. And I was so centered in, I love this 25% commission, that I was not willing to try and recruit other people to be part of my team because I loved that income and I wanted it for myself and I didn't want competition. But what I didn't realize is there's so much more to this if you would just get outside of that and let other people get what they want. And the more that you let other people get what they want and you help them get what they want, the more that you're going to get what you want, whether that's your customers, your downline team members, and anybody in your life. The more that you fulfill what other people want or help them do that, the more personally fulfilled you're going to be, whether that's as a person or in your business or anything else. So just if you would just step outside of yourself and what you think you need, you're going to get it back so much more, tenfold, hundredfold.
So good. And to build off that before Melissa, I want to add, like, I love the fact that you were a certified consultant for 2 years and there was this switch. Because again, like, I feel like when people, right, they'll be certified for a really long time, and people stuck at lead. I feel a lot of leads don't feel like leaders, even though we say they are. I don't think a lot of them feel like that because they can get discouraged. But I love your story because once you had that moment of realizing, right, like, it's gonna fulfill everybody, me, them, like all the things when I help them win. But also, you were 2 years in already. And I just feel like there's so many people on all of our teams sitting there and they think like they missed it. Do you know what I mean? So can you just can you go a little deeper for me and share with them, like, what was the moment though? Like, did you go to an event? Like, what was the actual switch? Because girl, to go from certified to then earning top trips, and I earned the top trip in 2015 in Disney, and that crap was hard. That's one of the hardest trips I've ever earned. So Can you like go back and maybe remember like what was the line in the sand you drew? Like what happened there?
I mean, I'll tell you, I was somebody who just really didn't. My sponsor would call me and, oh my gosh, your sales are great. And I would send her to voicemail, or I would get things in the mail and I would throw them away because I was like, this is not me. This is not what we're doing. This is just, I want to make $600 for Christmas. I didn't earn Shooting Star. I didn't earn Sensational Start. So, I mean, if you're somebody who didn't do these things and you still haven't done the thing, there's still time for you. You can still do this. You can still make the decision to change your trajectory altogether. And I remember I was working in the operating room one day, and I had gotten a video from my daycare provider. My son was little and he was learning to walk. And I was at work and I was watching him take his first steps on my phone. And there was a moment for me that I was like, this is not what I want for myself. This is not what I want for my relationship with him. And I don't want to continue to miss out on all of the things with him. I don't want to miss out on, I mean, it's just his first steps, but you know, it's that. And then the next thing you know, it's field trips and it's graduation or whatever it is that I'm fixing a hip. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a great job, but that's not, I didn't want that. I didn't want that. And I knew that Scentsy was an opportunity for me to do something else. And I started working with it a little bit more and putting it out there. And I got a random recruit in Louisiana. Now, remember, I'm on the West Coast of the country. So there's a time difference. There was a huge age difference. She didn't know how to use a computer. And I'm like, okay, if I can teach her how to get Sensational Start or Shooting Star, then we'll be off and running. And she did. And I felt like, oh, I've done it. This is it. I got this one person. This is going to be amazing. And obviously the one person isn't the key in building your business, but it is enough that if you allow it to be the momentum to propel you forward and continue doing the things, then that's it. Whatever your spark is, whatever starts your fire, if you can continue to run with that and not allow it to be the one person and then that's it. If that can give you the momentum to go and ask another person and another person and another person, and the next thing you know, you're recruiting 48 in a year. So that's a huge business changing move based on solely making the resolve that I'm just going to change it. I'm going to do something different. And that's it.
Oh, so good. I love a background. So I loved hearing that because I missed a lot of my son's first stuff too. And I remember that feeling because I was working night shift. So I love that you shared that because people need to hear that. Like everybody has something they fight for, and that's what keeps people. So on that note, this is a great transition. Melissa, what do you wish that you knew?
So I wish I knew something a little bit more tangible. And that is, I wish I knew how to, I wish I knew to collect every single person's contact information that I came across and touched, because I did not realize the importance of it in the beginning. When I did realize the importance of it, I was collecting email addresses to add to my I Make News newsletter. I was not back then. I say back then, we weren't texting customers back then. So you weren't collecting phone information per se because you were keeping in touch with them via text. You were collecting email addresses. And for me, I thought, all I need is every person's email address and get them into my Scentsy workstation and into my newsletter, and I'm gold. Okay. Well, since then, Scentsy has had 2 more workstations. And if a customer doesn't open the I Make News newsletter for a certain period of time, they get dropped off. And so I lost a lot of connection with customers that I worked really hard to acquire. And I wish I would have known what I know now, because there is not a person that I do business with that I don't get their name, address, phone number, email address, and I have record of it in my phone, and I make sure that it is somewhere else where I'm in control of. Because remember, at any given day, Facebook can go down. So you might not be able to just connect with the people on your VIP page. On any given day, the workstation could glitch out or black out or go away or get transitioned to something new. I am in control of my phone. I am in control of the Excel spreadsheet on my computer that is saved in the cloud. And I'm much more conscientious about the information that I control. Because I'll tell you what, customer acquisition is important to us. And I know that's not necessary. That's like a real heavy business term for what we do, but it is. It's important. And keeping in contact with those people and building relationships with those people is important because they can buy from any of you. Any customer could go to Serena, could go to Michelle, could go to Julia and buy the same products. But that's not going to happen. I want you to do business with me. And so I will constantly remind you why you do business with me. And that is something that took an evolution of learning to get to where I'm at today. So I wish that's something that I would have known. There was something else. Well, it'll come up again later, but
That's so good though, because I remember in the beginning too, and I feel like that's also like almost as scary as when people are scared to like tell people they should sell Scentsy or they should, they should do this, because when you're getting info from people, when you're not regularly doing it, right? And you don't have like a habit for how you do that. Like, hey, let me just put your info in, or hey, you put your info in and I'll save it. Like, then you lose them. And I had so many like that too, because yeah, in the early days, it was like, let's just, let's get their email and let's like send emails and use MailChimp and all these different right things. And that's so gold, because now I'm like, let me make sure first and foremost, I want your phone number. You can call me, you can text me, and also here's my social. And so what is the best way, just to give like a follow-up, because people may want to know. So how do you go about now getting information? You said it's stored, you just get it right in your phone, like when you meet somebody at an event or a home party or whatever?
oh yeah, it goes right in my phone right away. And in fact, this is a little tidbit for you. Every single customer I do business with, when we make the transaction, I take a photo of their order and I text it to them. And I say, here is a picture. I said, ignore the next couple texts you're going to get from me. They're standing right in front of me. And I'll say, ignore the next couple texts you're going to get from me. They're for my record keeping so I can help you remember what you love. And so I will take a picture of their order. I'll lay it out. They're standing right next to me. Lay it out, snap a picture, text it to them. Then I say, what's your address? And I say, disregard that I'm texting you your own address. And I text their own address back to them. And then I will say, I'll do that with their email address. And the reason I do it that way is that now my information initially is all in our chat thread. So when the person texts me and says, what was that blue bar wax I got from you last time that I absolutely love? I just scroll up and there it is. And there's a picture. And if it is, if it's something I can access on the workstation, okay, fine. But I am literally standing in front of the people saying, ignore me, I'm texting you back. One, now they have my number in their phone. Two, I'm doing them a favor by sending them what they just got from me for reference. But I'm housing everything initially in our chat thread. I don't ever delete messages. Now, granted, messages could get deleted and I could lose all of that, right? But I make sure their phone number goes over into my other customer, phone number list, because I don't rely on just one source. But yeah, I keep everything in my phone. And when somebody does business with me, I put them in my phone with the prefix CUS and then their name. And their last name is always something that will remind me who they are. I don't care about their last name until I'm taking their credit card information or I'm mailing them something. I don't care. Initially, I want their first name and I want whatever is going to remind me who they are.
Oh,
So I got a couple Walmart parking lot last names in my.
Yep. And I use my phone for collecting information too. I used to be somebody who was Well, and I still am pretty awkward, but I had a very hard time asking people for their contact information. And that was a huge barrier for me in following up, even to get people to join my team. And so what I started doing was I stopped carrying Scentsy with me. And I know that that's like probably not what you want your people to hear. However, what works for me is I would say, oh my gosh, I'm such a terrible consultant. Why don't you text me your address and I'll get you some stuff? And so that way I'm getting their phone number, I'm getting their address, and I'm not feeling as weird about like, hey, here's some stuff. Can I get your information? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that helps
I
me
love
break that barrier.
I love that. And I want them to hear that because this is what they're all thinking. They're thinking these things when it comes to getting customers information. They don't want to be weird at events. They don't.
Yes.
So I love what both of y'all said because also it's like the customer is king. And if we don't get them and we miss that moment, everything else with that one moment could destroy every opportunity with the consumer. So I freaking love that y'all talked about this. So
Well,
great.
and my line is always, can we keep in touch? Can I keep you in the loop with what's going on with Scentsy? I won't hound you, but I think you love Scentsy enough that you should know what's going on. And I mean, just casually saying it that way, like, can we keep in touch? They are like, yeah, for sure. And something I saw, I think in the chat, I wanted to just make sure to address is that always remember you're going to have people that unsubscribe. Oh, I know what it was. Somebody said Starbucks and Keurig, they email me all the time and, whatever. You're always going to have people that unsubscribe, unfollow you, that stop your text messages. You're always going to have that. Do not let those single loud voices knock you off your horse, because for every one person that is telling you to stop, there are 20 more that are thankful that you let them know what was going on. For whatever reason, we allow the one person to get into our psyche and we disregard the 20 that actually care about what we're doing. So just wanted to put that out there.
100%.
I have stopped caring. I literally am like, good, you stop following me. I'm not paying to text you anymore anyway.
Yeah. Or when you know they have an iPhone and then it turns green all of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, they definitely blocked me or they unfollow or whatever. But that's so true. And I used to be a big self-sabotager. And I think when we self-sabotage, I think we have to look at, right? A lot of people that are hard on themselves, which many consultants are, I feel like most consultants are, it's because we want everybody to be happy. So we have to look at, it's because we really want everybody to have the best experience. However, like you said, Melissa, we can't help that they're having a bad day and they're mad because they spilled coffee or it's cold or their dog jumped on them and it set their whole day off. Oh, here's Chloe excited about the flash sale with them. They don't have to reply, but we got to be consistent with it. And I love that, this is your share for what you wish you knew, because it's so different from Anna's, and both are so important to grasp, because if you don't have those foundational pieces, I feel like a lot of people on here tonight, they need to hear these basic things, right? Because it's not always just about the quantity, it's about the quality of how that first experience is, and how when Anna did recruit that first person, how that experience looked for her, right? I want them to earn Sensational Star, Shooting Star certified. It didn't matter that she didn't earn it. She wanted them to win. You want your customers to win. So I love that. Okay. So I don't have y'all on all night. I could keep y'all on all night. But the next question is for leadership. What advice would you give to anyone who wants to build their team and be a leader? They want to build their team. They want to pursue this team building situation.
You want me to go first again?
Sure. Unless you want me to go.
Well, my advice isn't necessarily the forward motion rather than preventing the backwards motion. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. None of this is easy. You see a lot of people at the top and you think that, it's because they started earlier or they had something that you don't. But realistically, it's because they just kept trying and they didn't give up. And there's going to be lots of times where you feel like you want to give up and you are stuck and it is hard and I'm making 5 cents an hour. And I want you to just, more than anything else, prepare for the moment in which you're like, this is too hard. Because there's going to be so many times that pops up and you're going to overcome it. And you're going to be so dang glad that you didn't give up when you felt that in the moment. That whole Babe Ruth quote comes to mind for me all the time. It's hard to beat somebody who doesn't give up. Every time we heard this at SFR, and it was Caitlin. What's Caitlin's last name? It was
Area?
Foster. Caitlin, no.
Oh,
Caitlin
Foster.
Flowers. Now she
yes,
has
it's flowers. Yeah. So it's she said, every time you quit, someone else gets your prize. Ooh, you can feel that. So, I mean, if you want to be a leader, it's my best advice. There, I have lots of advice for you, but my best advice is know that the hard times are going to come. Know that the feeling of stuck is going to come. Know that the feelings of like, this is too hard for me. It's not too hard for you. It is really hard. It's supposed to be that way. And if it wasn't, everybody would be at the top. But there is room for you if you just keep going. So don't give up.
So I want to add to that. What was, you don't have to share all the details, but what was your hardest? Okay, good. Because this isn't a question. What was your hardest moment you can remember as a leader where you wanted to give up? And how did you combat that?
Oh, gosh. There's so many times. And I think that the biggest thing for me is just remembering that you need to rest. And that's okay. And that's the season that you're in. If that means that you need to fall back on the self-care portion, then that's what you need to do for a minute. And Chloe mentioned earlier therapy. Oh, if there's anyone who's going to sing the praises of therapy around here, it's me. I love it. I think it's the best thing that you can do. It's the best gift you can give yourself. And the more that you personally grow, the more that you're going to be able to take on. So if you don't continue to grow, you're not going to go any farther. So reflect on where your personal growth is, and you're going to overcome those. But there's been lots of times where I've thought, oh my gosh, this isn't for me. I mean, for example, my little sister, it was my 4th first-gen director to promote me to superstar director back in 2019. And she's amazing. She's great. And she's one of those people who can do anything that she sets out to do. She's like, oh, I think I'm gonna go and be a director in Scentsy. She just does it, you know? But there was a moment where she decided, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm just not gonna do it anymore. And she went on leadership. And that's really hard. I mean, I'm not going to give up my business based on the fact of what she does, but it's a very hard thing to watch somebody who steps into greatness and then just decides, I'm just not for me anymore, and it goes the other direction. Does she regret it? I think she definitely does, because you do work really hard to get where you're at. And if you continue to push through those times, it's going to be worth it for you. So
basically saying also as a leader, know that you're going to build leaders that don't last, and that's okay. And we still have to love them as people, but also know that
that you can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves. Oh, you're going to see that so much in the people that you bring.
I was waiting for you to say that. Yes.
Yeah. Don't get caught in that trap.
Yeah. But you know what too, Anna, what I've realized, because I've also been there where I've, right, we work with these people, they're all in, right, Melissa? They go to these events, they're on fire, and something happens. And it's like, as a leader, we can see it. And it's like, oh, we're losing them. I'm losing them. I need to do CPR. And it's like learning how to not do CPR, but like if they want life support, we're there with the life support, but also to not try to grab on, because then we miss the people that are 6 down from us that are desperately needing our help, right? That helped me back a lot. When I promoted to SSD, I was so focused on the 4. Literally, we could do a whole training on how to not just focus on the 4 as the SSD, but it was like, because we are so proud of them and we know how hard they worked, but then we miss all these other people because we're so invested. So I love that you said that, because it'll save a lot of people that are building these leaders to realize that it's okay. It happens. but we just have to press on. So I love that.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, Melissa, what advice would you like to give anyone that wants to build a team?
That you have to show up. You know, we just did a challenge with it wasn't really a challenge. It was more of a program, mindset makeover in May, which just challenged everybody. We've got 3 days left. I challenged everybody to document what their days look like. And where are some areas where you can flip, maybe swap out a habit, you know, one that's maybe not a good habit and replace it with something that's better. Or, you know, what's your 90-day goal and what's your 30-day goal that's going to help you get to your 90-day goal. But we really focused on mindset and not so much the business, more about the self-care, the personal, the consistency. And what's fascinating is in doing that, there were 7, 8, 9 days in a row. Heck, I think some of them have streaks of almost the whole month where 0 Scentsy related items hit their day. 0. And it's been very eye-opening as leaders looking and saying, here's the incongruency. You want this, but you're doing this. And that's been a lot of, I think that's a lot of what the problem is that we get down on ourselves for what we don't have without pointing the finger at ourselves for what we're not doing. And so for me, Scentsy is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. Like I told you at the beginning, I think about Scentsy probably 150 to 200 times a day. In fact, that means it just doesn't leave my mind. It's so integrated and interconnected and weaved into who I am as a person anymore. I don't leave the house and put my Scentsy hat on. And then when I get home, take my Scentsy hat off and put my mom hat on. And I'm a Scentsy consultant from the time my feet hit the floor in the morning to the time I go to bed. There's no shifting who I am. It's just a part of me. And so showing up and consistently showing up and knowing that in order for me to achieve what I want to achieve, or even maintain what I want to maintain, I have to work. I have to put effort behind it. And making a couple samples that never end up getting passed out to anybody does not count as working. And that's part of the problem, is that we have to be sure to teach that there are business activities, but if the business activities don't translate to anything future business for your business, it's not a business activity you should be spending any amount of time on. The biggest thing that I want to end that topic with is, and this is my best advice: stop making Scentsy a negotiable on a bad day. That is one of the things I see so much, is when somebody hits their max or their wall, or they spilled coffee in the morning on their pants and they're running late. For whatever reason, Scentsy becomes the thing that people want to toss out the window. So never make Scentsy the negotiable on a bad day, because you will regret it. Your downline will regret it if you're coaching them and teaching them this concept. Because Chloe and Anna and I can attest, there have been many people who have made Scentsy negotiable on a bad day who came back and started over because they missed Scentsy that much.
It just gets you chills when you say it, because it's so spot on.
Yeah. Okay, go to the next. I'm starting my leader Zoom, but I'm going to tell them they listen.
Yeah.
So keep going.
We have a few minutes. We're good.
Last question, real quick. Y'all answer it quick. And then guys, we're going to be done. We're not going to open it up for questions, but don't worry. Y'all will see more of them. We may be doing a program or something together this fall. I'm just saying. So y'all will see more of these two. But last question, very simple. And I don't want y'all to overthink it. How do you make it last in your business?
Okay. Two things. Find your people. because whatever you're doing with someone else, you're always going to continue to do better. It's even like when you work out and you know somebody's waiting for you at the gym, you're less likely to just press the snooze button because that person's waiting for you. It's the same thing with Scentsy. So find your people, because it'll give you a reason to keep showing up. But also, if you're feeling like that whole point of burnout, try something new. It's like when you cook and you're like, I'm bored of the same things, make something new, or find something that brings you joy. Remember what's fun in this business, because this business is fun. It's a lot of fun. It's way more fun than I would think anyone else's normal job is, right? So find out new things, remember what brings you joy, and find your people.
So good. Melissa, can you unmute and share your tip for how you make it last in your business? And then I promise we will be done.
Yeah. No, and you're totally fine, because now I have some of them listening to what we're saying. So it's totally fine. Totally fine. I by no means was rushing you. How do you make it last in your businesses? I have to second. I have to second what was already said. You got to find people to do it with. You have to. This is what is so awesome about bringing your best friend along with you in the business. This is also what's so great about finding your best friends in this business, because nobody can relate to what you're experiencing, you're going through, your excitement, your frustration. Nobody can relate to it like somebody else that's in this business too. But you always want to surround yourself with people that are going to lift you, not drag you down. If you are surrounded in a circle of people that are negative or are not helping your business grow, they're not propelling you to the next level, they're not pushing you to join that leadership program or to strive for star consultant or to want to be a director, if they're not pushing you and making you want to do those things, you're in the wrong circle. You are not surrounding yourself with the right people that are going to help you build and grow this business. And I would say that for sure is something that would help make your business last, because I'll tell you what, it's really hard to quit something that all your best friends do. Real hard.
So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So great. On that note, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. And so y'all can go. I know y'all have stuff to do. So bye.
You guys, thank you so much. Chloe, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Fun.
Always.
See you
Bye,
guys.
guys.